Happening now, how a large chunk of money is helping several local businesses get through the COVID-19 pandemic. Plus the latest on election 2020, early voting, why a record number of people could be casting their votes, not just nationwide, but here locally too.
Well, it's another cloudy start out there today, and we've had a few raindrops, but wouldn't you know it, some snowflakes could be falling by Friday. I'll tell you the details next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
With less than 7 days to go to election 2020, election commissioners in Chautauqua County say early voting is booming, with thousands of people already casting their ballots in just the past few days. In an update to the media, Commissioners Norm Green and Brian Abram report that nearly 1/4 of the number of expected voters in the fall election have cast their ballot. They cite easier access to voting as one of the main reasons for the increased turnout.
Stay away from maybe the dinner hour if you can, because that's probably when everybody else will take their first opportunity, maybe right after dinner to head out. So in general, I think that, maybe patience and maybe to, watch to see what times are best. I think, midday or later in the day would probably be the better of the two choices. But, they can only be there when they can be there, so we'll accommodate.
Early voting is available at the Chautauqua Mall in Lakewood, County Fairgrounds in Dunkirk, and at the Board of Elections office in Mayville from 10 to 6 Wednesday through Friday and noon to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. Absentee voting also has decreased since early voting started, with the Board of Elections receiving over 11,000 applications so far. All polling sites will be open next Tuesday, Election Day, from 6 to 9. Now, out of concern for a COVID-19 sensitive population at the Steger Apartments in Dunkirk, voters in that city's 1st District, 1st Ward, and 4th Ward will now be voting at the Clarion Hotel. That's at 30 Lakeshore Drive on Election Day. The commissioners say those impacted will be contacted by the Board of Elections via U.S. mail. Well, the number of COVID-19 cases and those hospitalized because of the virus increased in Chautauqua County yesterday. The Chautauqua County Health Department reported 26 new cases, with 11 of them in Dunkirk, 7 in Jamestown, 3 in Falconer, 3 in Fredonia, 1 in Frewsburg, and 1 in Sinclairville. There are now 119 active cases, with 22 people hospitalized. Now that number up from 16 during yesterday's update. 5 of the active cases are employees of Tanglewood Manor, with 38 of them residents associated with that outbreak. 18 employees and 52 residents associated with Tanglewood have since recovered. The health department is also continuing to look into a new cluster of cases in northern Chautauqua County, which they say was the result of a private event. At least 15 cases have been linked to that event. Now, since the pandemic started, there have been 987 cases of COVID-19 in the county, with 855 of them recovering and 13 fatalities. Well, the United States has added nearly 500,000 new cases of the virus over just this past week, and about 3/4 of the states are trending in the wrong direction, experts say. Nadia Romero has the latest on the national containment effort.
From coast to coast, coronavirus cases are climbing.
We're failing. COVID has the upper hand. Cases are increasing in most of the country.
At nearly 70,000 cases per day, data from Johns Hopkins University shows the 7-day average of new cases is now at the highest levels since the pandemic began.
Following the case increase, our hospitalization increases, and then tragically further increases in the number of deaths.
The Trump administration's testing czar says the increase in the numbers is real and not just due to more testing.
Testing may be identifying some more cases. I think that's clearly true. But what we're seeing is a real increase in the numbers.
The data on display in El Paso, where hospitals are reaching a breaking point.
We've got 4 tents, pressurized tents set up at hospitals for overflow, and we're looking at an alternate care site at our convention center. But It's not good.
And El Paso is not alone, with hospitalizations on the rise across the country. Officials from New Jersey to Colorado to Illinois are reinstating restrictions on bars, restaurants, and gatherings, as well as curfews.
The situation here in all of Cook County, city and suburbs alike, is bad, and it's getting worse.
Officials and health experts alike are pleading with Americans not to let up on mitigation efforts.
We've got to hold on for a few more months, because if we don't, we're going to end up with a lot more infections, a lot more hospitalizations, and a lot more deaths.
I'm Nadia Romero reporting.
Nadia, thank you. Health experts are hopeful that a new COVID-19 vaccine can provide some relief. However, it's still unclear specifically when that would be ready for a nationwide rollout. Well, back here in town, Jamestown police are issuing guidance for those who will be participating in door-to-door trick-or-treating this Halloween. Officers say residents who will be giving out candy are asked to turn on their porch lights, wear a mask, and participate in social distancing. Police add precautions like preparing individual treat bags to place on your porch in a bowl or some other sort of container could help area youth stay out of contact with you. This could be supervised from a distance or maybe even through a door. Now, those who don't want to hand out candy should turn their porch light off. Police say trick-or-treaters should respect homes without lights on and for them not to visit. Parents are asked to ensure that children wear protective face masks and not just your costume mask. Practice social distancing and use hand sanitizer often. Now, earlier this month, City of Jamestown leaders decided to not set trick-or-treating hours or sanction the activity. Instead, they're leaving that decision up to parents and neighborhood residents to participate. Well, certainly Halloween just a couple days away and the election coming up very, very soon as well. Thanks for joining us here for WNY News Now as we get a check of all the local news that matters to you. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Mark. Good to see John, Stephen, Rita, Julia, Pam, Joseph, Lori, Caitlin, and Wendy. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Wendy says, I'm voting today or tomorrow. Haven't decided yet. Well, certainly the Chautauqua Mall, a great place for a lot of people who live in southern Chautauqua County. And a reminder, if you are going to be participating in early voting, the hours for that are posted at votechautauqua.com. And you don't necessarily have to go to the voting site that's closest to you. If you live in the county, you could go to the voting site at the mall, the voting site in Dunkirk at the fairgrounds, or the voting site at the Chautauqua County Board of Elections offices in Mayville. And if you live in, say, Cattaraugus County, there's 2 polling places for you at their elections office in Little Valley and at the JCC campus in Olean. Of course, you can find much more information online. And today there wasn't a ton of people out voting at the site. I went to the one at the mall. And but still, nevertheless, you probably had about a 2-minute wait. Super easy process, very organized, so if you can, check it out. Well, speaking of checking things out, let's check out our first offense weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter is standing by with that. And Dakota, a little birdie tells me that coming up later on, you'll have some totals of snow that we could see.
Yeah, it's getting around that time, and you know, we've been hinting about this all week long, and we told you yesterday we would have preliminary totals, and you'll see them a little bit later on, but we're going to keep you in suspenders a little while longer. But for today, enjoy the cloud cover. If you can enjoy the cloud cover. 45 at Findlay Lake right now, and just lots of clouds around. We had a little bit of drizzle that came through this morning, and that's really about it. Much of the drizzle that we had really was not being detected on radar. It might have been falling underneath the radar beam, but again, this is pretty much going to be the story throughout the day. Just a few patches of drizzle, lots of clouds around. So again, another day, but the sun will be peeking out later this afternoon. We do think the clouds are really going to start to thin out later this afternoon towards sunset tonight. We could see some peaks of sunshine. Also, don't forget, Storm Spotter training comes up tomorrow at 7 p.m. It is online from the National Weather Service at Buffalo. Now, unlike the spring sessions, which focus on tornadoes and severe thunderstorms, this is going to be a winter session focusing on winter storms, lake effect snow, and how to properly measure snow. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So if you are interested in weather, or if you just want to help us out because we need more storm spotters, you can register for the session at weather.gov/BUF/Skywarn. So we need more spotters. It's a great thing to do. fun for the whole family. From 8 to 88 can attend this session, and it's free to attend, so we highly encourage that. 44 was the high yesterday. We started the day at 38. 81 and 35 are the record highs and lows for this day set at the Jamestown airport. So through the afternoon, any light showers or drizzles will come to an end. They'll thin out later. Some sun will actually start to develop later on this afternoon. Still cool and breezy. 45 on the highest hills, 53 at the Lake Erie shoreline. West wind 10 to 20 miles per hour. Some wind gusts near 30 miles an hour. But we've got some snow on the way for Thursday night and Friday. We'll time it all out with the projections in just a few. Justin.
All right, Dakota, thank you. In an effort to prevent the spread of COVID-19, SUNY schools around the state, including our own SUNY Fredonia, are requiring students to test negative for coronavirus before they can leave for Thanksgiving break. University leaders say around 140,000 students statewide will need to take a test within 10 days before leaving for that holiday. Now, after Thanksgiving, the schools are switching to virtual instruction for the rest of the fall semester. Now, since the start of the fall semester, SUNY Chancellor Jim Malatra says around 270,000 COVID tests have been administered on SUNY campuses statewide, with a positivity rate of around 0.5%. He says during the upcoming testing, most students will be using saliva testing.
Some can still do the diagnostic test, so our campuses choose the different tests. Saliva test is the most readily available one. That turnaround is less than 48 hours.
SUNY schools are also now putting the finishing touches on plans for this spring semester, which will require pre-testing before they come back to campus. Well, for colleges that brought students back to campus, do you think that was the right call? That's one of the questions a recent survey by Pew Research Center, and people were split roughly halfway, saying it was a good idea, while the other half saying not so much. The divide was pretty much down party lines, too. Republicans were more than twice likely to say as Democrats that bringing students back was the right call. Researchers wanted to know if the split was connected to people's view on in-person learning versus online, but they ended up finding out that the majority of people from both parties agreed that the value of education was certainly not the same. In the end, researchers say their results are a reflection of the divide on views of the virus on a much larger scale. Well, coming up next, a lot more local news to tell you about how a big chunk of federal cash is helping out some local businesses. But first, how a new seatbelt law could impact your commute. That and more as WNY News Now continues.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I'm Jason Schmidt. I'm a former felony prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney here in Chautauqua County. I've worked both sides of the system for the past 15 years. I'm the only candidate endorsed by local law enforcement. Police here in Chautauqua County know what's going on. Each year here in Chautauqua County, the police make about 1,000 felony arrests. In 2019, only 17.4% of those arrests resulted in felony convictions. I know how to fix their problems, and that's why I'm running for district attorney.
As a former county executive, I know exactly the challenges and opportunities that we have here in Chautauqua County. That's why I'm very proud to support PJ Wendell for county executive. His knowledge, his experience, and his leadership are exactly what we need at this moment in time. I would ask you all to please support PJ Wendell for county executive.
Wendell has the experience, he's got the leadership, and he's got the knowledge and ability.
One of the most important characteristics of a successful county executive is being able to surround themselves with the right people for the right situation. And that is exactly what PJ Wendell has done. Having direct experience in county government is absolutely critical, and no one should start out as county executive with having no experience at all with county government. So PJ Wendell brings that experience both as a long-term legislator and a former chairman of the legislature. He has my 100% support.
For the past 9 years, I've been a prosecutor right here in Chautauqua County, fighting to keep this community safe. My family lives here with me in Fredonia, and I grew up in Sherman, New York. Fighting to make sure that these communities stay safe is so very important to me. We have the highest caseload of any county in this state, and as your district attorney, I'm dedicated to making sure that each case gets handled the right way for not only the victims, but for the people that live in this county. I'm fully invested in this community, and I'm fully invested in this community's future. Vote Patrick Swanson for Chautauqua County District Attorney.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. An expansion of New York State's seatbelt law requiring everyone in the back seat to buckle up will go into effect next week. Currently, the law requires anyone over 16 to wear a seatbelt in the front seat only. Those under 16, however, legally have to wear a belt in every seat of the car. Well, starting November 1st, anyone over the age of 16 must now wear their seatbelt while in every seat. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, seatbelts reduce the seriousness of crash-related injuries and deaths by almost half. Although the new law goes into effect on Sunday, law enforcement leaders want to ensure drivers and passengers will receive a grace period for getting a ticket. Additionally, warnings will eventually lead to enforcement only after a car is pulled over. When enforcement does roll out, the passenger who didn't buckle up will be the only one to get a ticket for a maximum of $50. Well, more than 24 local businesses have received part of $10.5 million in CARES Act money given to Chautauqua County for COVID-19 relief. The Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency announced yesterday that 28 businesses and nonprofit entities from various sectors received part of the funding. In total, around half of the $10 million was split between the businesses, which officials say is likely to retain hundreds of jobs here and create upward of 100 new ones. Those looking to apply for the remaining credit are asked to contact the CCIDA at 716-661-8900. The number again is 716-661-8900. Now, as currently established, loans of no less than $25,000, not to exceed $1 million of a working capital with an interest rate of 2.4%, which is the lowest amount allowed, is available. Well, less than 1 week, that's all that's left in the presidential campaign. The candidates know time is running out and are now traveling the trail to reach voters, all meant to deliver the magic number of the Electoral College votes which it takes to win the White House. Nadia Romero is in Washington with a snapshot of the race.
In the final days before the 2020 election, Joe Biden is making a late push into traditionally red states like Georgia.
Warm Springs is a good place to talk about hope and healing.
While his running mate, Kamala Harris, travels to Texas, two states President Trump won in 2016.
People are looking for change.
Amidst the Biden blitz, President Trump is counting on Republican voters to keep red states reliable as he treks across the Midwest, hoping to, once again, topple the blue wall.
Hello, Michigan. This was the scene of a great victory.
The travel on the trail may put the candidates on the road to the White House, while their messages are different.
We have a full day of rallies. We have thousands and thousands of people at each one.
Stay safe and wear your mask.
Their goal is the same, reach 270 Electoral College votes. Political operatives believe that path runs through the same 6 states, Arizona, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Florida.
We got 1 week, Orlando.
President Trump won all 6 of those states in 2016. Now, 4 years later, recent polls show Biden leading or within the margin of error in all of them.
There's a red shift right now in how people are voting, and there has to be a red tide at the end of this campaign in order for him to win this thing.
As early voting shatters records and the calendar races towards next Tuesday, the candidates are crisscrossing the country, making their closing arguments to win. In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
Nadia, thank you. And another key state to keep our eye on is nearby Pennsylvania, where First Lady Melania Trump spent the day yesterday campaigning for her husband. Well, get ready to indulge because today is National Chocolate Day. Woohoo! Although, who really needs an excuse to enjoy that tasty treat, right? Most of us consume that delectable sweet on a pretty regular basis. At least I do. National Chocolate Day is held every year on October 28th. But NationalDayCalendar.com notes that some sources designate July 7th or even December 28th as the real holiday. Chocolate is derived from the seed of the cocoa tree. The taste is intense and bitter at the same time, so the seeds must be fermented. The bean then gets dried, cleaned, roasted, shelled, and ground up into our delicious treat that we know and love. National Day Calendar says that there is evidence that the use of cocoa seeds date back as far as the 1100 BC. That looks pretty yummy. Let us know what you think about that and more in the comments down below. I certainly could go for some chocolate right now. As we jokingly say here on the show, Dakota, our lunchtime is right now. So anytime there's a tasty story, I always have the rumbles.
Yep. And, the thing is, chocolate is good. I mean, chocolate is like soul food. It releases endorphins. It makes you feel good. The only problem is if you eat enough chocolate, it makes your hair fall out. So moderation is the key when it comes to chocolate.
I've never heard that before, really.
Yeah.
Makes your hair fall out. Well, Lori says, I vote chocolate.
Yes.
Same here, Lori. Come on down. Wendy says, great answer, yeah. Chocolate for everybody. Just hand it out.
Yes.
That's what, instead of the voting stickers that you voted, that's what they should give you. It's like an I voted chocolate.
Yes.
Why not?
Like a little chocolate coin.
Yeah.
What are those things? The little chocolate...
yeah, they're like the little penny looking ones.
Yeah.
And they'll say Happy St. Patrick's Day. We always used to get those for St. Patrick's Day. My mom always got the cutest little chocolate things. So thanks for giving me the addiction, Mom.
Yes. Chocolate. Oh, man, it is good. Now, before we get ourselves too indulged into chocolate, let's take a look at the rain. And it's been a rainy stretch here. We have had 9 consecutive days where we've had rainfall at the Jamestown airport, and our monthly rain total is now at 4.07 inches for the month. That is almost 3/4 of an inch more than where we should be for the month, and you can thank all the rain. And again, it's well-needed rain. We're not complaining. We need the rain because, again, throughout the fall, we have been parched, especially from September where we had very little rain. So through the afternoon on MetroCast, 44 degrees at 2 o'clock, but the rain should stop, and by the time we get to sunset time around 6 o'clock, 46 degrees, the sun should be peeking out during that time, and by the time we get into the evening hours, 10 o'clock, 41 degrees, and we should be partly cloudy at that time, but the clouds are going to thicken back up again tonight, and we will see a chance for more rain overnight tonight as the remnants of Zeta start to work up the northeast. 43 at noon hour right now with a southwest wind of 8 miles per hour. We have a wind chill at 38 degrees when you combine the air temperature and the wind together. Right now around the region, 43 Mayville, 44 Dunkirk, 46, 44 Fredonia, 46 in Dunkirk, 44 Harbor Creek, 48 over in Erie, 46 Randolph, and 41 over in Olean. So temperatures not too far off from each other right now, so we're all kind of scruncated together. Satellite and radar picture shows you the moisture. There it is. That's going to be riding up the northeast, and this is going to be part of the system that's going to be coming our way Thursday night and Friday. Let's time it out on FutureScan because you know what's coming here. So here we go with FutureScan. It does paint the idea of maybe a couple more little spotty areas of drizzle this afternoon. Definitely not out of the question. Now, as we go into overnight tonight, you're going to see the moisture start to advance from south to north. So that's where the rain's going to be advancing. Could be some moderate to heavy pockets, especially tomorrow as the remnants of Zeta start to work its way up the northeast. But look at what happens further out here to the east. That's snow. Yes, we're going to see a transition over to snow, and most of the model guidance is keeping much of the transitioning further out to the east. This is where the colder air is going to be filtering in, mostly is further out to the east. So this is where we think the most amount of accumulation will be. Not a whole lot, but that's where the most amount of accumulation will be. That pushes its way eastward throughout the day on Friday, and then we ultimately start to clear out later in the day on Friday, and we should get to mostly cloudy skies for the afternoon. So how much snow are we picking up? First snowfall of the season, really insignificant. Maybe a grassy, dusty, a little bit of a grassy. The grass will. however you pronounce it. The grass could have some snow on it across the lower elevations, upwards of about a ½ inch across the highest elevations. And then once you work out further to the east, this is where the most amount of snow could be, used figuratively, maybe upwards of an inch out there. That's where the colder air will be, where the snow might be more significant, relatively speaking. It's the first snowfall of the season. Anyway, Halloween forecast updated here, 44 degrees. We're still going mostly clear skies on Saturday. So again, Justin talked about the trick-or-treating time. So you guys to stay safe during trick-or-treating. Next 7 days coming up, brought to you by 42 degrees and sunny, 44 tomorrow, 37 on Friday, just downright cold with those scattered flakes, especially early in the morning. Halloween itself looking mainly dry, 46. We bring in another chance of rain on Sunday, set those clocks back 1 hour as well Saturday night, and then a wintry mix continues for both Monday and Tuesday of next week. We will take a break and be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm Jason Schmidt. I'm a former felony prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney here in Chautauqua County. Each year here in Chautauqua County, the police make about 1,000 felony arrests. In 2019, only 17.4% of those arrests resulted in felony convictions. It means that in less than 2 out of 10 serious crimes, the victims of those cases receive justice. 17.4% is not a number that's acceptable for me and my family. It certainly isn't good enough for yours.
Hi, I'm George Borrello, and I'm proud to serve as your senator for New York's 57th Senate District. In fact, in my first year, I've passed many pieces of legislation as well as helping people and businesses in these challenging times. From fighting for a safe, common-sense reopening of our state's economy during the COVID-19 pandemic, to continuing the push for the repeal of the state's flawed criminal justice changes, which have made us all less safe, I am working hard for you every day as your state senator. Your vote will help me continue my mission to boost New York's economy, struggling from the COVID shutdown, and for small businesses not just to survive, but thrive. I will also continue to hold the government accountable by reviewing policies that led to the tragic nursing home deaths statewide. I am proud to represent our beautifully diverse region, and I will be honored to have your vote on Tuesday, November 3rd, so that I can continue my work fighting for you. It's not about rhetoric, it's about results.
Paid for by Borrello for Senate.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. The National Comedy Center is hosting a 4-day Halloween event to an alternative for door-to-door trick-or-treating this year. Center officials say the Halloween Boo-Ha-Ha features a safe and touch-free opportunity for families to celebrate the holiday. It all starts tomorrow and runs through Sunday for kids and teens age of 17 and older, as long as they're admitted with one paying adult. In addition to current exhibits, the Halloween Boo-Ha-Ha will feature a scavenger hunt in a secure, socially distant place. There's also going to be prizes for the best and funniest costumes, which will be awarded each day, with a grand prize of a National Comedy Center family membership for the best costume over the whole weekend. Halloween chocolate will also be distributed. Tickets should be reserved at comedycenter.org/Halloween, or you can give them a call at 716-488-2222. Full details at our website right now, too. And it sounds like a pretty good time, Dakota. I wouldn't mind to engage in a little Halloween boo-ha-ha. And a little ha-ha this morning. Every day we do a update on WGWE, which broadcasts in Cattaraugus County in Salamanca. And we record that right before this broadcast. And sometimes Dakota is just walking by the booth, and he heard me doing the update, and he popped his head in, and he's like, did you just say that on the radio? And I'm like, say what? And he's like, Halloween brouhaha. And I'm like, no, it's boo-ha-ha.
I was seriously convinced when he was doing that. I seriously was convinced he said brouhaha. And I'm thinking, like, I cannot believe you just said that on the radio.
It would work. It seems fitting, too. So.
Right, and that's where they got the name.
Either way.
Hey, you know what? How about this? Can I go like this as my costume? Because I could scare anybody.
You could go as a weatherman. We
Yeah,
could
there
go
you
as a news anchor and a weatherman. We could go right now.
We win!
We win.
Woohoo!
All right, Dakota, thank you. Well, that's going to do it for us today, of course. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow live at noon sharp.